You're listening to the Social U podcast, sponsored by Social University. Be sure to follow us on our socials listed in the show notes. Now, let's dive in. Don't say anything dumb.
Booger.
I'm Becky Johnson.
And I'm Laura Black.
And this is the Social U podcast. We are telling on ourselves today. We are going to give you some insight into what it's like if you do social media for more than a hot minute, because you're going to make mistakes. And we're not talking about a typo. We're not talking about you put an A instead of an E. We're talking about some of the worst mistakes we have made as social media managers.
And some of them are hilarious and some of them are just embarrassing. But they all should give you a good laugh. That's for sure.
Most of our clients, when we have made mistakes, because they understand that everybody makes mistakes. And it's, if you are a client for 2 years with somebody, it's bound to happen. And they have been very gracious to us. And we strive really hard for perfection. And we fix things as soon as we notice them. But it's going to happen.
Yeah, so true.
As much as you care, like I care a lot about being a mom, and I'm still going to make mistakes as a mom. And I care about that more than anything. So like, you're going to make mistakes. So the first thing I want to say is if you are a social media manager and you've made a mistake, cut yourself some slack. Do your best and cut yourself some slack.
Right. We're not AI. And even AI is not perfect because it's never quite right for what you're using. So we're only human and life happens. So just smile, roll with it, fix it, and move on.
So what is your first one, Laura?
Well, this is kind of mild, but one time, Karen probably remembers this day. We were helping a client and we were trying to do something with sound quality. And it was something that had to be rushed really quickly. And Karen's just like, do what you have to do. And I said, okay, I think that I have to buy this $20 thing. And I think it was more like 60 or 70, which is really kind of mild, but it's still, I don't want to spend other people's money, especially without permission. So that kind of like took me back a hot minute. So mild, but you know, it happens. Sometimes you just get stuck in a situation or accidentally hit the button and don't even know it. So
it happens.
Is what it is.
So my first one is something that you guys have given me a lot of grief over because it is hilarious. For those of you that don't know, Karen does lots of trainings where she gets up and speaks in front of groups. Sometimes they're virtual, sometimes they're live, and she always has slides. And I'm the person that makes those slides. And so we were at a training that was live, and I was actually there with her, and we're doing this training, and it's in a movie theater. It is not in a normal setting with a small screen. It's not like people are watching it on their laptops. This is a movie screen. And I have made what I am so proud of, these beautiful graphics for this presentation. And while one of them is up there for, it feels like 10 minutes, she talks about, she goes through a slide in like a minute and a half. I felt like this one, probably because I was worried about it, I felt like it was up there for 10 minutes. It's this computer, and you're supposed to be looking at what's on the computer screen. And then it's got like the desk with flowers and like a coffee cup and all that. And until it was on a movie screen size, I did not realize that the coffee mug was just covered in boobs. It was just covered in all different types, shapes, sizes, pairs of women's boobs. And now we refer to that as the boob mug incident.
And in the au naturel state.
Yes. Yeah, they were not covered. It wasn't like bikini top boobs. It was just like hand-drawn bare boobs all over the cup.
I bet it seemed like they were up there for an hour because you don't want to point it out, but
no. And I'm just, my face, I'm sure, was just like, oh my goodness. And this was a group of realtors. So I feel like they would have been pretty chill anyway, even if they had noticed. I don't know if any of them did notice and they just didn't say anything, or if they didn't notice because it was kind of not the main focus of the slide. But I definitely noticed because when it's on a movie screen, that coffee cup was probably like 3 feet tall.
So I wonder how good of feedback that was. It might have been really good.
We were just trying to be girl power, you know, power.
You know, just telling it like it is. No. No. That was hilarious. So, I mean, I'm trying to think of how long ago that was. I remember that pretty vividly. It just never gets old.
I think that one's been like 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
And I still, when we say mistakes, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I was like, Boob.
Yeah, there's a couple from the team that are just, they're up there.
What's your next one?
Well, one time, oh, this is so embarrassing. I was helping Karen with a training. It was a live training and it involved Zoom and it involved a bunch of things. And I get nervous when a whole bunch of people are watching me. And it really probably was user error, but I was trying to share a screen and do all this stuff. And my computer was opening the screen behind the screen I was in. Like it was all those multiple windows kind of a deal. But I was so flustered, and man, we were losing people right and left. And all I could do was get more and more flustered. And I knew it was me and I couldn't do anything about it. And I'm afraid to say, I think that might've been our last live training with them. And I feel so bad. And it cost us a lot. And Karen, I don't think ever said anything bad to me about it. And I felt so terrible. I still feel terrible about that one, but it was embarrassing.
We are very fortunate that Karen is very gracious to us in our mistakes. Our rule pretty much at Social U is everybody's going to make mistakes. And if you take responsibility for your mistakes and own up to them, we can fix it and we can work it out. If you like try to cover up your mistakes and hide them, and then later we find out like that there's been all these mistakes, that's when there's a problem.
Right. Transparency is good. Let me record it any day. Don't put Laura live. It's a bad thing.
You're right now on the podcast being so amazing.
I haven't been asked to do it again. Let's just say. Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. I know you have a lot more.
So mine are mostly weird. I have a couple that are actually social media related, but most of mine are more in the training or digital marketing when it comes to like email marketing. And that's my next one, is an email newsletter mistake that I made. And I'm only going to take half the responsibility for this one because I literally put what was given to me in this newsletter. Now, where I make the mistake is that based on this wording, I should have realized it was a mistake, but we live in Alabama, so I didn't. And here's why. It was supposed to say that there was going to be a free, fun class that was like a bonus class at this training that one of our clients was doing. When they sent it to me, there was a typo on it and it said free gun class. So when I sent out this email to goodness knows how many thousand people, I put that there was going to be a free gun class at this live training. And there was no gun class. But like I said, we live in Alabama. It is not out of the realm of possibility that someone would offer a gun class. I didn't know.
I would like to take this opportunity to interject and let our listeners know all three of these items happened to the same client.
And they still use this. So,
and weirdly, she still speaks to me to this day. So
right. And she's the nicest person ever.
I feel like that says a lot, though, for our normal quality of work. The fact that she is still a client after all of these things have happened. We're doing our best.
I bet she could jump on here and give us some hilarious situations that she's been put in. Oh my goodness.
It does make me wonder how many people called her to either be excited about or complain about the gun class that they were going to receive.
I mean, just saying, you're a realtor. I mean, you need to defend yourself. I mean,
yeah. I mean, you're showing houses to strangers by yourself. You might need a gun class.
I mean, protect yourself.
But she was not happy about it, but she was very gracious about it.
Okay. So this one is, we had a teammate, Sonia, and she was fabulous. She was helping write some behind the scenes things. She was giving personal LinkedIn reviews for our team. You know, how you do recommendations and reviews for people. And I was helping her upload them. I had already uploaded several of the ones that were written, and they were all so nice, and nobody had a way with words like she did. And I get this panicked call from her. Laura, can you fix this right away? It's supposed to say public, but I forgot the L. Broadcast over LinkedIn.
Oh my.
And I still laugh about that. It was so cute. I mean, she was just like, fix it.
One letter can change a word so much.
I know, right?
Public to pubic is a big change.
Right. So, and it was this giant, really great recommendation, really long. And I'm like, oh, and she so good about grammar and everything. I don't think I proofread it. I just like copied and pasted it, threw it on there. So
You're like, I know this is going to be perfect. I don't have to look at it.
I know, right? Right.
So a good point. Always look at it.
Yeah.
I had one. This is my first one I'm going to talk about of mine that was like actually social media related. I used to have a client that was located in Savannah, Georgia, and they were a country club with a nice pool, and it was 150 million degrees in the South, and I'm posting for them. Keep in mind, I'm in Birmingham at the time. They are in Savannah, Georgia, and I put a caption to the effect of, "Get out of the Alabama heat."
Oh, oops.
Today, blah, blah, blah. And then got a text message a few minutes later. We are not located in Alabama.
Oops.
It's like, that place is so good. Even in Alabama, it's worth the drive. You should just go to Savannah, Georgia. But I got it changed pretty quickly, but not before somebody saw it. So
that's funny.
You always have to keep in mind that when you work remotely, all of your clients may not be in the same location as you.
Yeah, this is true. I feel like that is one thing. We're always switching mindsets and hats and geographic locations and time zones. And it's a lot to think about sometimes when you have multiple, like I have 7 clients, you have clients and do different things too. And it's a lot to juggle sometimes. So mistakes are bound to happen. Luckily, our clients, like you said, are so amazing. I was posting a story and adding a clickable link to it recently, and I put the wrong link, and it was actually the clients know each other. And she called me and was like, "Hey, that's the wrong link. That's to so-and-so's class." So, oh no, it just happens.
So this reminds me of, it's kind of like the way that our clients feel about that a lot of times reminds me of when I used to do hair, and I had this client and he wanted me to do his neck with a straight razor. And I was 100% not comfortable with that because I was like, like, what if I cut you? I don't want to do that. So he would sit in my chair and he would take my straight razor. This happened a couple times, and he would just do it himself in my chair after I gave him his haircut. Well, one time he did it and he cut himself. And then I was like, well, if I cut him, it's not going to be any worse than he does. So I might as well do it. And I never did cut him. But then from then on out, every 2 weeks he came in for a haircut because he kept it really short, and I would do the straight razor. But I feel like our clients are like that. They're like, well, even if you cut me, I'm just going to cut myself anyway. So like, at least you have a better viewpoint of it and are less likely to cut me,
Okay. That's funny.
So we're less likely, I think, a lot of times to make the mistake, since this is all we focus on. We're not focusing on any other aspects of their business, but still, we're going to cut some people sometimes.
Yeah, no kidding.
We're doing the podcast right now. I have another podcast that is for my anime nerdiness thing that's all about anime. And so a mistake that I made on that one time is in editing the podcast, there was something where we just went off on an aside and it was not part of the podcast, and I was supposed to cut it out, and I left it in.
Oh,
and I left in like 30 seconds, which is a really long amount of time to talk in a podcast that was not supposed to be in there, where we're just talking about like personal stuff and stuff that should not be in the podcast. And it was up for probably a full 24 hours before I realized it. And it had gotten like, my anime podcast is not super popular, but it had gotten like 15 listens. So like 15 people heard this personal aside conversation that should not have been in the podcast. And that was pretty embarrassing and seemed very unprofessional.
So how did you figure it out?
Generally, after I post a podcast, I will wait 24 hours and then I will go back with fresh ears and listen to it. Not to like see if I need to take it down. I don't ever expect that I'm going to have to do that, which I did with that one, but just to critique it and say, okay, like what could I do better next time? Where are things I could improve? And I was going back and listening 24 hours later for my critique listen. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Oops.
Fortunately, I didn't say anything horrible, or say anything like mean to somebody or anything like that. It was just stupid, not related. Like we're talking about what's for dinner and I'm like talking to my kids and stuff. It was a big wake up call to like really, really check those things. So I used to do it 24 hours later, which I still do, but I also do it right after I post it. So right after this one goes up, I'm going to take 30, 40 minutes, however long this ends up being, and I'm going to listen to it as it's posted.
It's time consuming to go through and keep editing. And one of our clients does they always video it because they like to have both versions, the audio and the video. And I'm lucky in the fact that I do listen to it because exactly what you say, but they'll also like throw their hands up if they know there's an edit that I need to make. She interviews different guests from all over the world, like they're not world, all over the country. They're just women leaders in their industries. And sometimes they share things and then go, I don't know. I don't think I want to share that. So I'm super paranoid on that one and listen and listen and listen again, just to be sure.
I can remember helping you make shorts one time and you were like, make sure you don't get any of the part where this lady talks about her daughter because she doesn't want anything about her daughter ending up in any of these videos. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was in the main video. You had to make a conscious effort to actually cut it out. So what is your next one?
One of the things that helps me the most, I think, is I don't wing it. I don't wing anything well. Yeah, I want to read it, reread it, plan it a little bit. I think about a lot in the shower. That's kind of awkward, but I always think of the best things while I'm in the shower. And then I usually forget by the time I get out, but
You remind me of my husband a lot because he will write like a 1-paragraph text message that he's going to send out to the people he works with. And he will take 30 minutes to write this 1 paragraph. And then he will send it to me to proofread this paragraph. And I'm like, this is just a 1-paragraph text. Like I would have wrote that out and sent it in like a minute and been done. But he really, really wants it to be perfect and really like stresses over making sure it's just right and probably makes less mistakes than me because he's so super detail oriented and wants to make sure everything is good. But I have speed on my side and he has accuracy. So
I was about to say there's a trade-off for that because, I'm one of the slower people on the team because I take my time to make sure the tone is right and make sure that all that, and not to say that their tones are wrong at all because they are always spot on in what they do too. But I'm just so worried that I've got it wrong that I want to make sure it's right. So
it's funny you say that because Karen was telling me something today about, oh, you're so fast at that. And we were talking about landing pages and stuff. And in my mind, I was like, I'm probably the fastest but probably not out of all of us that would do it. If somebody took 3 times as long as me, the quality would probably be way higher. The quality it's going to be when I do it in the shorter amount of time. I will say, I don't think it would be probably enough of a quality difference that people that don't do what we do would probably notice. But I do think that there is a trade-off between speed and accuracy.
But at the end of the day, too, sometimes it just has to go through my neurotic brain and you can catch that faster. And that's just how you function. So that's good. I mean, I don't think you sacrifice quality at all.
Thank you. One of our fellow staff members today, when we asked, hey, we're doing this podcast, send us your mistakes. She pointed out that she made a story one time on Instagram and Facebook story. And it was about our entire team. And it had pictures of everybody like popping up individually, except for me. She left me out of it. And she felt really, really bad about it. I, of course, did not care at all. I didn't even say anything. I was like, this is awesome. And somebody else was like, where's Becky at? Why is Becky not in? And she was like, oh no. And she felt so bad. But Jaden, I know you love me. I know that you did not leave me out on purpose. And I am the hardest to offend person ever. So it did not bother me at all. But I thought it was funny that she was really bothered. We have like 8 people on our team and 7 people in our story.
Well,
I'm on there enough though. She puts my face on there enough.
Oh my goodness. They're good about that. I can hide from it all. I'll be okay.
I feel that. I'm like, Michaela's cute. Let's put Michaela.
Oh my goodness. So cute.
You're kind of like this too, because you're in Texas, but like, I'm not even there. You don't have to put me in everything. I'm not even there.
No, I can be quietly remote. It's okay.
Yes.
No problem. Now, when they start talking about getting Cookie Fix and all those great things, then I start to get a little bitter But you
Right.
can leave my picture off. That's fine.
I mean, just send me a bundt cake every once in a while and I'm happy.
Oh my goodness. I made a cookie fix mix that Karen had given me for Christmas. We made it yesterday. I've been hoarding it. And everybody in my house was like, oh my, where are these from? These are so good. And it was great. I thought if I was in the office, I could get those every week.
If you are an executive at Cookie Fix or Nothing Bundt Cakes, we are not sponsored, but we would love to be. So I'll eat that stuff on air. Like, you just send it to us.
Right?
For free. And you sponsor us and we will gladly eat your wares.
Live reactions, plenty of promos. We're in for it.
And we love it. So you don't have to worry about us giving you a negative review because we eat it and love it without being sponsored. So white chocolate raspberry bundt cake for the win.
This team would straight up slap their mama for a bundt cake.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. They're good. They're really good, but I'd
would.
slap your mama for a cookie fix.
I'd slap my mama for a lot less than a bundt cake.
Jason would slap his mama for a crumble cookie.
Okay, so I have to give some props to Jason. Those crumble cookies, I had one of those for the first time ever because there's one near me. I've never had it. And it was good. It was different than Cookie Fix.
You were obviously mistaken because crumble is trash and the only good cookies are
No.
They're so good.
If I wanted to eat cornbread, I would eat cornbread or crumble.
They were different, but they were delicious. Oh my goodness.
Sure.
Let's have an on-air taste test. We can do that.
Yeah, just Karen can just send us boxes of each and we can do that.
Yep.
They would travel so incredibly well. Yeah.
Cookie Fix shipping. I tried to ship some to my niece a couple of years ago because that's what she wanted for her birthday. And it was like $60-something just for shipping.
Oh, wow.
Easier to ship the dry mix and let her make them when she gets them.
I did. I got her a dry mix at Christmas. And
when we asked for other people in our chat to send us their mistakes, one of the ones that we got repeatedly was either posting a client status onto your personal status on accident or posting your personal status onto a client status on accident. Like my client's just posting pictures of some party I went to, you know,
oops.
Or posting one client's information onto another client's post. So sometimes because you juggle back and forth between so many accounts, like we each have the maximum number of Instagram accounts on our phones that you can be logged into, and we toggle back and forth with our clients. It's super easy to be like, I'm going to get on real quick and post this picture of my kid. And the next thing I know, Social U has posted a picture of my kid because I was logged into Social U and not paying attention. And I think that is something that we have all done.
Yeah, it's like me sharing the link on the stories. I had copied it, right click to copy it and shoot it over to my phone, and oops, it didn't copy. Wrong one. And it's all garbly anyway, so what do I know?
Right, you can't tell what it is.
I've learned to double check after it posts.
Then another one we had is where we were posting a special for a client, and the special was supposed to be you could get this product or service for $199.
Mm-hmm.
And we accidentally posted $19.
Yeah.
I was probably going to tell that one myself. Thanks.
Sorry.
You're not supposed to be in here yet, Karen.
Just so you know, when that happens, if you are our client, you do not lose money. We lose money. We lost the money on that. You can have confidence that if we mess up your price, we are going to make sure you are taken care of. But that was a fun one.
To be fair, we caught it really fast.
Yeah, that's another good thing about our team. We're all on enough that it's kind of like, ooh, that doesn't look right. Hey, just checking, and poke whoever does that account because something doesn't look quite right with that.
Well, since I stole that one, I will call Karen in now and hand over nut pics to Karen.
Yeah, I would be bummed out if I didn't get that one.
That's the best one.
Me personally, the worst mistake I've ever made. We have a client that has an event on site once a month. And years ago, something happened in the scheduling. And then I was out for on medical leave, and it just basically didn't post at all. That's probably the worst mistake I've ever made. Everybody I know has posted their own personal information on a client's page or a client's page on their personal page. It happens.
Yeah.
And we do have typos sometimes. they seem to intensify when the client's doing a review.
Of course they do. Yeah.
Without fail. It's when your client who hadn't been online in 2 years will go check the date. There's a typo and the L is left out of the word public. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
They don't look at the last 2 years where you had no typos. They look at today.
Aside from the cup thing that Becky did, because you can't deny it when it's on a 40-foot screen. I mean, come on. I have like a top 3. The one from a couple of years ago where we posted the 19 instead of 119, that got ugly. But we caught it really fast. The second one, years ago, we were doing a post for an aviation post, and the person who did the post put an airplane. And sometimes they'll do the smoke trails behind them. The smoke trail made a body part.
Oh,
I forgot about that one.
a male body part, I'm guessing.
We called it the penis plane incident for a long time. I didn't notice it, neither did she. Yeah, that came down
hilarious.
pretty quick. But to be fair, it was the picture attached to the article. So, but yeah, that was bad. But the funniest one we've had, we had an employee who was kind of new at the time, and I was going through invoices, and I'm like, "What's this it's like $164, $65. What is this?" And then one of our team members, she said, "Oh, I thought we had an account with them, so I ordered 3 pictures. What did you get pictures of?" Nuts. I'm sorry. Well, we posted for a pecan retailer for many, many years, and she was getting pecan pictures. But yeah, the nut picture incident is also something we refer to a lot. And when she was, of course, super embarrassed, I referenced that number probably daily for a month. Like
$165 for some nut pics.
And I feel like she hadn't been here that long, and she was so mortified.
She was mortified. I'm like, I'd like 164 ice cubes, please. She's like, let it go.
But I mean, when you're new and that happens, the only direction to go is up from there.
Yeah.
She would never be able to make a mistake again, like after that, everything's gravy.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
I mean, the reality is we all make mistakes. Things happen. You just have to own them and move on. And our team is very good about catching each other's mistakes quickly. Yes. And I have another friend who's a social media manager. She catches stuff for me all the time.
I do think it helps that we follow each other's pages. So generally, anytime I've made a mistake, the person that tells me is not even my client. It is somebody else on our team.
Yeah.
Leah is really good about catching stuff and sending me a text and being like, "Did you mean to spell this like this?"
So yeah.
Like, no, I did not. Thanks.
Yeah.
Where is that L? Yeah. Apparently all of our mistakes are obscene.
Yeah. I mean, because those are the best kind. Honestly.
Well, I mean, and we've had to
go big or go home.
Yeah. I mean, there have been some minor mistakes here and there, but those are the worst ones. Easily the worst ones.
And in however many years we've been doing this now, we've not been canceled, so we're doing all right.
Well, and poor client who had all of the mistakes. Oh, bless her heart. Yeah. We still work with her. She still talks to me. So that's a miracle.
And I would like to point out all 3 of those mistakes were for her, but we did so much for her.
Yes.
So it was a lot easier for her to get mistakes just for the sheer volume of content that we were putting out.
The law of averages suggests that is correct.
That is true. Yeah, that is so true.
Now, I would say the biggest mistake I've made, 2 biggest mistakes I've made as a business owner are I waited too long to hire. I should have started hiring my team way before I did. It really made a huge impact on the business. Seriously.
Because what did you do before you had Laura and me?
I literally worked every day. I cannot tell you how many vacations I took to the beach with my family where I would have to work the first 4 hours of the day before I could do anything fun. Even if I was scheduling ahead, I couldn't stay on top of it. It was too much. It was overwhelming. The second part was me keeping my hands in it too long. I do not have to be the one who posts every day. And when I stopped posting and kind of turned it over to our team, much smoother, much better. It opened me up for sales and marketing for the company more. It was a good idea. It took too long. And then I would also say, make sure before you take the time to create a product, especially if it's a course, make sure that that's what people want to buy because nothing is more, to me, defeating. You spend all this time making something and nobody wants it. Make sure they want it before you create it.
100%. So this week in social media, I wanted to go down a rabbit hole with you guys that I personally have gone down several times. My 10-year-old son is on this rabbit hole every night. And that is the trend of oddly satisfying videos.
Like ASMR?
ASMR is one aspect. There's 3 different aspects that I'm going to talk about. One is ASMR, and some of those are crazy. I watched a lady put up a tent in the snow and then light a fire and then drink her cocoa, which is like super boring stuff. But the ASMR was like so great with the snow falling on the tent and the crackling of the fire.
Yeah.
I just watched this lady for 20 minutes make her
It's fascinating. Like all the cooking ones and all the, I love that stuff.
There's an Asian lady that bites into things. Like she gets fruit covered in the hard crackle sugar shell and she'll like bite into it and chew on it like right up at the microphone, and people listen to that, and that one kind of drives me crazy, but she has like millions of followers. So
I don't want to hear you weird chewing when we're in person. I sure don't want to watch a video of it.
Right. So you've got the ASMR, and there are even like Ambient Mixer is an app where you literally can just find any sort of ambient noise to sleep to, and it gets really, really specific.
Like
There's
rain.
one, like rain. It's like the normal. Then they have one like you would like, Karen, that's from Supernatural that's called like riding in the backseat of baby. And it's just like car sounds and like a faint classic rock playing and like people coughing. Like it's weird.
That's cool.
And then there's one that's like the Ravenclaw common room at Hogwarts. And it's like,
cool.
And this is called Ambient Mixer?
Yes, Ambient Mixer. I love it. One of my favorites that I highly recommend on there is Mr. Tumnus's cabin, because it's pan flute, fire. Like it's very relaxing. It makes
Are there hooves?
There are no hooves. But
darn it.
So relaxed.
Are you now? Is that an app or is that like a YouTube thing?
That is an app. But
okay. And for those of you guys who have been, I don't know, under a rock for the last 2-3 years, ASMR it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Basically, it's different, just triggering or visual stimulation. That's what it means.
And there is a lot of ASMR on YouTube. The Ambient Mixer is just a tangent, but the other 2 are mainly on YouTube or anywhere that there's videos.
TikTok.
The one that is oddly satisfying videos, these are what my 10-year-old watches to go to sleep. Like he watches them with no sound. And it's the things that make those of us that are more on the OCD side feel really good.
Like what?
So it will be like somebody cutting soap.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Cutting Jello. Yeah.
Cutting Jello or things that are just really satisfying. People that are completing the last bit of something to make your OCD just be like, oh, yeah,
Like Adam Rose does a series where, I think this is weird, but it'll be a container that's got something in it and you like level off the top, and it's how satisfying it is to level off the top. A little odd. And then he does another one where different items get squished.
Yes, that's
like a bowling ball or Play-Doh or
they have the one
bears. Yeah.
Where it's squished in the big press, the big like hydraulic press. And then they have the one where it falls into the little teeth that grind it up. Is another
yeah.
It's so weird. Or where you drop paint, the paint explodes.
Yes. Or you roll things down the steps until they bust and go everywhere.
Yeah. I will watch recipe videos or like candy making videos, because especially if they're doing that pulled sugar, that is fascinating to me.
Yes.
And they put the tint in it and they mix it up by hand and then they cut it. That is fascinating to me. Or the one where they put whatever liquid on the frozen.
Yes. And they scoop it up and they, yes.
And I love decorating before and after, unless what you're decorating before is a historical craftsman and you destroy it because you're an imbecile. But yeah.
The one that keeps popping up for me lately is this lady. She's just doing like regular birthday cakes, but she's like, I don't know. It's amazing what she does. And even just watching her write out the happy birthday, it's just so beautiful and so I don't know. Something about it.
And people doing calligraphy is like that too.
Yes.
The last one is one that's going to be the spicy take. And this is what started this for me as a topic for you guys, because I knew you would have really, really strong reactions. And it's kind of a twofold thing. So recently, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but you guys know that I had lost hearing in one of my ears because I had fluid in my ear from a sinus infection where it had got trapped and I couldn't hear. And when I went to the doctor looks in my ear and says, "Oh yeah, I can see like a ton of fluid behind your eardrum," which got me thinking, how can you see it behind the eardrum? Like, what does that look like?
Oh, no.
So then I go on because I'm like, I want to see what my eardrum looks like and what it looks like if it's got fluid. And let me just tell you, there are a million videos on YouTube of
getting stuff out of your ear
extractions, wax plugs, dead skin plugs, bugs,
danger.
Don't stick cotton swabs down in your ear, because I have watched so many of those get pulled out. Pieces of hearing aids, pieces of earbuds.
Becky, that gives me the Wiggins. You have to stop talking about
No, and then you can go down the pimple popping avenue too.
That was the other one. Dr. Pimple Popper like revolutionized.
Amazing.
You can watch blackheads, you can watch cysts, you can watch bot flies, all kind of things. And it's
I've seen a couple of the bot fly videos.
Oh, those are gross, yeah.
I'm literally sitting in the living room watching blackhead extractions for 30 minutes, and my family is just looking at me like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you watching this?"
I know several people who do that, and I'm pretty fascinated myself, Becky. I'm right there with you.
It's fascinating to just see it become clean. Like,
it is.
You have the plug, and then the plug comes out, and it's clean, and you're just like, "Oh, that's satisfying." But I'm that kind of person too. Like, if my husband gets a zit, I'm gonna pop it.
And I think this conversation is totally derailed. We have left the station in the dust.
It has, but it is shocking how many people watch that.
I knew that you would have a strong reaction.
Have you seen the video of the girl who reacts to styrofoam?
No.
She doesn't like the sound of styrofoam. The way she does it, it's hilarious, because she's like, she's got a takeout container and she's like, "I don't like the way styrofoam." She keeps going. I just can't watch videos of people falling down, because all I can see, especially for older people, there's so much head injury involved. And when they fall on ice and their head snaps back, you can die from that. I don't think it's funny or entertaining, or when you fall and you can like feel it in your own tailbone. I just can't watch that stuff.
Yeah, no.
I don't like any videos that are supposed to be funny because people are getting hurt or because people are getting embarrassed. I don't like watching videos of people getting embarrassed. I get secondhand embarrassment for people, and it makes me just feel bad. It doesn't make me feel funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew Karen would have a strong reaction to this because I know she doesn't like body stuff. I mean, staph infection, they'll have videos of them just like squeezing all that cottage cheese out of a staph infection. And I'm
you have to stop talking.
I could watch it all day.
Oh, Becky.
Karen wants to go back to the soap videos where people just
go back to the soap.
Oh my goodness.
I could really make you sick right now with one thing that I hear a lot in these videos. And that is when they say, "Oh, the smell."
Yeah, right.
Something out, and you're just like, "I'm so glad I'm not there right now."
You're now dead to me.
One time, speaking of being dead to Karen in this way, I wasn't even trying to be dead to her, but I was just sending her a picture of this big, like yellow and black riding spider. I'm not really sure what the real name of them is. That was hanging outside of my house, and it was like giant. And I sent it to her, and I'm pretty sure she threw the phone when she opened the picture. And she was like, "What are you doing? Don't ever do that again."
What is wrong with you? Who does that?
I really hate it when somebody sends you one of those videos and you're watching, and then something nasty jumps out at you.
Oh, yeah.
No, thank you.
Like
you're dead to me if you send me that. Seriously.
Clowns freak me out.
A lot of times, if I see a jump scare, I won't jump, even if inside I jump, but my body won't jump. And people will be like, "How do you not jump?" And I'm like, "Do you know how many kids I have?" If I jumped every time there was like some random popping out at me, like I would just constantly being in seizure mode.
We do try to record scaring each other in the office, like when we have an office day. And I've been trying to get Madison for the longest, and she got used to me like jumping out from behind the door when she went to the bathroom. Nothing was working. So I convinced Becky to get under the table. It is a good thing we got her when she came back from the bathroom because
She'd have gone right then.
yeah. They tried to get me last week. Nicole and Michaela pretended like there was a mouse in our office. And I didn't react at all. So they both of them were like, fine.
Listen, if you're going to try to scare me with an animal, it's going to have to be a tarantula because nothing else is going to make me freak out. I honestly would have a pet rat if I didn't have 2 pet cats. Because they're really smart and they're just little furry creatures. Anything that's got more than 4 legs is too many legs. Regular bugs don't scare me, but something about spiders, they just.
I saw one last night, and it was this little sweet little boy, and it said "New Fear Unlocked," and they were carrying a like a shoebox size clear thing with a big old tarantula in it, and they're about to put it where he can see it, and they drop it, and it opens right in his lap.
I saw that.
Oh, my word.
I would have died.
Awful.
We love like scare pranks where it's harmless, like where you're at work and the person jumps out from behind the box and they scare their boss. That's funny to me because there's no danger. But any kind of prank video where the person gets injured or hurt, I don't like that at all. And there's this poor man whose wife records him. He makes the same noise every time. It's always hilarious. Always. And you'd think he'd be wise to it.
Yeah, I have seen ones, like the jumping out at people, especially at grown people, it doesn't bother me. But the ones where they like drop spiders and stuff like from the ceiling down to people, I think to myself, if that happened to me, I would literally have a heart attack. Like you can be scared to death. I think I would literally be scared to death if a tarantula touched me.
No, thank you.
Well, I feel the same way about, sharks. I had this conversation earlier this week. Spiders, roaches, and sharks freak me out. Like if I was at the beach and I saw the fin, I would have a heart attack before it got close enough to hurt me. I would just shut down. But spiders no, thank you.
So y'all know that Robbie and I are not beach people. Our kids are beach people, but we're not beach people. We don't ever go to the beach.
Yeah, I don't.
And Robbie loves to say, "Do you know where a shark will not attack you?"
In the living room. I do that with a bear. Nobody's ever been mauled by a bear watching TV. I'm just saying.
Now, say I will go like hiking in the mountains. I could get mauled by a bear, but I'm not going to get mauled by a shark. That's not going to happen. That's not why I don't like the beach. It's more the sand for me and the other people at the beach. And sand ruins everything. Like if it gets in your camera, ruined. And one of my favorite things to do on vacations is take pictures. So why would I go someplace that is going to like tear up my camera? And then once it gets on your body, there's no getting back into that beach house without bringing sand into the bed and the floor and the bathroom and everywhere.
She's given this some thought.
I've just been forced to go to the beach enough times that I'm just like very adamant about why I hate it. And it's boring to me. Like I get out in the water and swim for 10 minutes and then I'm done. Like I've seen the beach. I've seen everything there is to do. I don't want to just lay on a towel.
I want to sit there with a book and listen to the waves, but I don't want it to be like 110 like it is in Texas every time we go. I want to go in October or in March when it's temperature's good and I can get that sound therapy, you know?
I like the lake for that. I like just sitting on the grass next to the lake, maybe in my hammock, reading the book. You can hear the waves coming up. Or one of the best beach trips, we did a girls trip and we had a beach house like right on the beach. So you could see the water from the house, but it had a pool.
Ooh, nice.
So like, I didn't go to the beach. I swam in the pool where I could like look at the beach. And that was great.
Great. I'd love that.
I love the way the beach sounds. Like I can fall asleep to beach noise for sure.
Me too.
You can get that on ambient mixer or on your Alexa.
Okay. I'm going to do that. I like that idea.
Me too. Is it free? Do you know?
It is free. If you pay, you can do more stuff with it. Like there are some sounds on there that are a combination of sounds and you can like bring the birds up a little bit louder and take the water down a little quieter. You can like, that's why they call it mixer. Like you can actually mix the levels on there. But I like just the ones that are already curated for me.
Yeah, I'd be good with that. Oh my goodness.
And I think on your phone, if you have it on your phone, you have to leave the app open to play it. So maybe it's not great for like overnight because once the screen goes black, it stops.
While I'm working, I'll put my iPad on with a movie, but it has to be like, not always. It depends on the client. If they're super technical, I can't do it. Like on a movie that I've seen before, just to have that background going. And there's some good ambient channels on YouTube of like Disney Parks ambience is pretty cool. But I like the idea of this even better because then you don't even have that video distraction.
So the movie that I play in the background when I'm trying to work and I just want to have background noise, Hamilton.
Really?
I just play Hamilton because it's music. I've seen it enough times that I don't have to pay attention to it. And it can just really blend in the background. And I love it. What's your go-to background noise, Karen?
I want, like, no matter what I've done during the day or if I've watched a movie, I have to watch like a brainless comedy before I go to bed. And I'll rewatch. Like I've just got done with Frasier. So I went to Cheers because I want to see the origin of the Frasier. I've done How I Met Your Mother. I've done Psych. I've done Friends. Friends does not hold up. I'm telling you what.
Oh, I love Friends.
Hayden loves Friends.
Oh my goodness. If you go back and rewatch it as an adult, because I watched it as a kid, like in my 20s, and now I'm in my not 20s. And as I go back and watch it, Ross is the worst. The worst.
That was part of why he was so funny, though.
Because he was a horrible human being. Yeah. So much of that stuff, I'm like, I just have a total different. When I started seeing Dirty Dancing and relating to the dad, I realized I had turned a corner.
That's good, Karen.
Like, here you take advantage of my daughter. Yeah.
She's too young to be out here doing all this mess.
She's too young for you. You're obviously 38 years old and she's 12. That is a problem.
So you bring up an interesting point. You talk about like the palate cleanser that you have to watch before bed. So I love to watch 48 Hours Mystery and see all of the crime documentaries. And I love to watch those after I'm done with all my other stuff. I'll watch it for 48 hours.
And her palate cleanser is forensics. She loves that stuff.
That's not my palate cleanser. I watch the 48 Hours and then I get ready for bed and I'm like, I don't want to dream about this. So then I have to watch some stupid.
Yep.
Then I'm watching the earwax removal before I go to bed. Palate cleanser. Or the Shein haul or something just to get where I feel like I'm not thinking about that right before bed.
Agreed. I have to do something to get rid of the scary. I don't do scary hardly ever anyway, but I have to purge.
It's like I don't want to be scared, but I just feel like they're so interesting. Like how they catch people is so interesting to me. And the fact that they do catch the people and that even though sometimes it takes a while, they get caught. And I really like watching it.
I watched this video where the parents did it with an associate. I don't know the group they did it with, but the parents were in on it. And they gave the people, they recorded everything to see if their kids could be abducted. And it took seconds.
Yeah, that's scary.
They got every single one of them. Like one kid, there's some giant man knocking on the door. Like, hey, I'm here to check whatever. Open the door. Flings the door open. The guy reaches aside, grabs the boy, drags him out. Like that. Just like that. And one kid got in somebody's van. His dad comes around and he's like, why would you get in a van of somebody you don't know? Yep. I mean, scared. Oh, yeah, it scared me to death.
I can't watch anything like that late.
Funny story. Kaden is my 19-year-old, and she watches my little kids a lot if I'm not here. And she will not open the door for people she doesn't know. It doesn't matter if they're in a uniform. It doesn't matter if they're yelling out to her. And if they say, like, you have to sign this. Not only will she not open the door, she will not speak to them, but she won't hide. She will literally stand in the window and maintain eye contact to assert her dominance until they leave.
Wow.
And I think it's so funny because she's normally like really shy. She's the one that doesn't want to go into the store and pay for her own Coke, you know. But if somebody's knocking on our door, she'll stand there and look them right in the face and not answer it.
It's a safety issue. I wouldn't want her answering the door either.
Yeah, me either. Sippin Social Tea. This one I feel like is going to hit a nerve for a lot of people. And it says, why does the social media team have to present their ideas and work to the entire company to get buy-in, while the rest of the marketing team is trusted to just go about their business? That doesn't seem fair at all. Preach. How many times have we had to get literally everybody in the company to sign off on something before we can post it?
Yeah.
People that are not in any way related to marketing or social media or anything to do with that. People whose job is like technical stuff for their company, but they still have to sign off on the social media.
Or you'll get feedback like, I showed this to my daughter and she didn't like it.
That's so like, yeah, because she's not a social media expert.
Is your daughter a marketing manager? No. Yeah. She's 17 and she wants to do, whatever. Or I showed this to my wife. Oh, okay. Or I showed this to a team of 20 people and we have input. Absolutely not.
I mean, you could do that endlessly because every 20 people you show it to are going to have different opinions, and you could literally change it every time. You could write the caption yourself and then a week later show it to yourself and get input. Like, you can't live like that.
Yeah, we have one of the services we offer is Story Brand, and we work with Lisa Shook through Enthusiasts, who is certified to do this training. More of a consultation. It's messaging focused. So when we do Story Brand, Lisa's the one who executes. And that is a huge red flag when you have a team. 2 or 3 people is great. 6 people can be functional if it's an integrated team. When you start getting more than that, it's just like playing Russian roulette because nobody's going to agree on anything.
Oh, so hard.
And even if you have 4 or 5 people, one person needs to have the decision-making power.
Yep.
So when it is turned over to this team, one person needs to be the person that actually delivers the feedback. Not everybody throws it in, because then if you put in everybody's feedback, people are still going to have more feedback because now you've changed it to something else. One person needs to make that decision and say, yes, go with this.
Yeah. Yeah. And that all comes back to just because you own a typewriter, doesn't just be a typewriter. I'm dating myself.
Wow.
You own a computer. Typewriter. Doesn't make you a writer. Just because you own a calculator doesn't make you an accountant. Just because you have Facebook doesn't make you social media manager. You do have to learn the skill.
Yes. That's like once DSLRs became affordable and everybody was a photographer. And it's like, if you're shooting in automatic all the time, you're not a photographer. You just have a good camera. There's a difference. Social media hotline. This one's near and dear to my heart this week.
Oh, no.
Social media hotline. Mm-hmm. Okay, your podcasts aren't being listened to. Let's see. Well, that's because they're named really, really badly. Nobody wants to listen to podcast 1, podcast 2, podcast 3. Okay, you need to get more creative so people want to listen to that stuff. Okay, fix that. Call me back. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, when you go look at a podcast and its episodes are podcast 1, podcast 2, podcast 3, you don't even know what you're going to be listening to. It could be about literally anything. I want to know before I go in what I'm signing up for.
Laura, what makes you pick a podcast?
I want something that's going to entertain me a bit, but I don't want it to be so deep that I have to really concentrate on it. Like the latest one I've listened to is the new one with Tony and Ziva from NCIS. And I love the characters and I just want to hear that banter back and forth. That's more entertaining to me. Like, you're not going to find me on a crime podcast,
To her credit, Becky does a bang up job of naming these podcasts, because every time I read the names, I never know what we're going to have. And it always makes me laugh.
I'm always worried when I name them if I'm going to get in trouble, because sometimes they're a little out there.
The one from last week is awesome. I'm like, that's funny.
Oh, right. You're so good at that.
Oh, thanks.
She's so good at that. When we get stuck on captions, especially if it's funny, like for a TikTok or something for us internally, I'm like, send it to Becky. Send it to Becky.
I pick the podcast I want to listen to. First, I will pick based on topic. But once I put in my topic, I'm looking for a fun name and I'm looking at the thumbnail. And if it looks like they put time into it, it doesn't have to be like a certain type of thumbnail. It just has to look like they worked on it and put time into it, because then I know they put time into their podcast. If it is a white background with some black text on it, or even worse, if it's like the little placeholder, I'm like, you don't even care about your podcast. Why would I care about it? I'm not listening to this.
Rookie.
So join us next week when we will be talking about even more amazing stuff, and it will probably be both funny and infuriating. See you then. Thanks for listening to the Social U podcast, sponsored by Social University. We'll see you next week.